Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Homendy, and I'm chair of the National Transportation Safety Board. With me today is member Todd Inman and our investigator in charge, Kenny Bragg. The National Transportation Safety Board is an independent federal agency. We're charged by Congress with investigating transportation disasters, including significant crashes on our highways. Our entire mission is to determine how a crash happened, why it happened, in order to prevent it from reoccurring. At the end of our investigation, we issue a probable cause, a set of findings, and safety recommendations, which again are aimed at preventing that crash from reoccurring. We are an independent federal agency. We are not part of the U.S. Department of Transportation. As such, we issue safety recommendations, but we work at the end of our investigation to get those safety recommendations implemented so we can improve safety going forward. Now, yesterday we launched a multidisciplinary team to Swanton, Ohio, to investigate a series of 3 crashes on Interstate 80. Before I go any further, on behalf of the entire agency, I want to extend our deepest condolences to those who lost loved ones or were injured in these very tragic events. Our hearts and our thoughts are with you. But I also want to extend our sympathies to the first responders who arrived on scene. These were tragic events, and it can be very devastating. We know that because we are at these crashes. A number of our personnel are former first responders or continue in volunteer fire service. And so our sympathies are with each of you. This is our first full day on scene. So we have a lot of work that we need to do in the coming days. We started off this morning with a briefing from the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We went to the scene of all 3 crashes, and then we went to the tow yard where our personnel began gathering evidence and looking at the vehicles that were involved. Our team then split up in different investigative groups as they began gathering and documenting the evidence. And I want to talk about some of those groups and the teams that are involved and what they're looking at as part of this investigation. First, we have a team that's focused on highway factors. That team is led by Dan Walsh. That team will look at the design of the toll plaza. They will look at the approach to the plaza from the eastbound lanes and the westbound lanes. They will look at roadway conditions, infrastructure in the area, including any concrete barriers or medians. They will look at the design of the highway, look at speed limits in that section. They'll look at signage, any sort of weather conditions, and they'll look at traffic volumes and crash history in that area. We have a human performance team led by Justin Snyder. Group will look at the performance of the humans that were operating the vehicles. They'll look at medical histories, they'll look at training, medication use, alcohol and drug use. That is just standard part of any of our investigation. We have a motor carrier team that's headed by Sean Curry. That team will focus on the safety history of that commercial motor carrier. We'll look at operations, vehicle maintenance, any training programs, the hiring of drivers, and any driver qualifications. Now for this one, for the initial crash, the motor carrier is Best National Industries Incorporated, doing business as CJJ Industries, and they are located in Summit, Illinois. So the motor carrier team at some point will move to Illinois for their portion of the investigation. We have a survival factors team that's headed by Jason Zeitler. Survival factors team will look at the crash worthiness of vehicles. They'll look at any technology in the vehicle, safety technology, or safety technology that could have helped prevent these crashes. They'll look at seatbelt use, the performance of the first responders, and the transport of victims after the crashes, and other factors that could have saved lives in any of those vehicles or prevented injuries. We also have a team focused on vehicle factors, and that is led by Jerome Cantrell. That team will look at the mechanical condition of the vehicles. We have a hazardous materials team who is led by Crystal Thomas. That team will look at the hazardous materials involved. In the initial crash, the motor carrier was transporting 4 hazardous materials in containers. Those were sulfuric acid, acetone, diesel fuel, and trimethylbenzene. The hazardous materials came out of the vehicles, so they're documenting any damage to the containers themselves and damage to the vehicle and looking at the hazmat involved. We don't have amounts right now, as they're going to have to confirm what was being shipped with the shipping papers. That team is also going to look at any exposure to the first responders as a result of that hazmat or anyone else in the area, whether it was at the toll facilities or anyone in the vehicles. We also have a family assistance team headed by Stephanie Matonic. The family assistance team works with the families after a tragic event who have lost loved ones or were injured in crashes. They will work with them to make sure that they are aware of what we're doing in our investigation, our investigative process, where we are in the process, leading through the issuance of the final report, and even well afterwards as we work towards implementation of our safety recommendations. Now I'm going to turn it over real quick to Kenny Bragg, our investigator in charge for this investigation, but then I'm going to come back and provide additional information, and then we'll move to questions and answers. Kenny.
Thank you, Chair. The information that we've developed thus far is preliminary. What we determined so far is that on Thursday, October 15th, at about 5:34 a.m., a 2014 Toyota Highlander was traveling east on Interstate 80 near mile point 49 in the high-speed toll lanes. For reasons we have not yet determined, the Toyota slowed and was struck from the rear by a 2019 Mack truck tractor in combination with a van semi-trailer. After this impact, the Toyota veered off to the right, off the right side of the highway. The truck tractor struck a concrete barrier, overturned, causing the release of its hazardous material cargo. In addition to this crash, we're also going to look at the 2 subsequent crashes. However, because of the number of vehicles and occupants involved in that crash, we're not going to speculate and issue any information about those 2 crashes at this time. Again, this information is preliminary. As the investigation continues, we will update you as we get information in.
Thank you, Kenny. So the NTSB works in what we call a party process. We work with those who have technical expertise that can provide us facts that we can use in our investigation as we move forward in developing the specifics around these 3 crashes. They are not part of the analysis, but they are a key part of our fact-finding portion of our investigation. Thus far, parties to our investigation are the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the Public Utility Commission of Ohio, and the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission. Now, we also work with witnesses, and so we need the public's help. In many of our investigations, the public has answered our call, so we need your help now. If you have video, if you have photos, perhaps you are in a commercial motor vehicle that has an outward-facing camera, if you can provide that information to us, that would be extremely helpful to our investigators. Please contact us, email that information to witness@ntsb.gov. Again, it's witness@ntsb.gov. Now, we will be here 7 to 10 days on scene. Again, our entire goal here is to collect the perishable evidence. But the investigation will continue well beyond the 7 to 10 days. probably up to about 16 months, 12 to 16 months. There's a lot of information that we still have to collect. Again, our focus is on the perishable evidence, but in about 30 days, we will issue a preliminary report that will only provide preliminary factual information. It will not get into analysis, and there will be additional factual information we'll be able to provide down the road. Now, I also, before I go to questions, I want to thank the first responders. And so I'm going to read a list of those who really came out and assisted the victims and did a tremendous job and continues to work on this investigation and assist us in this investigation. The Ohio State Highway Patrol, who is running a parallel investigation to our investigation. It's not one or the other. We are working as a team, and so they have their own investigation, but we have had really a tremendous working relationship with Ohio State Highway Patrol on a number of investigations. We had the Etna, Ohio crash late last year, and certainly East Palestine train derailment. And so we really, really appreciate their work and thank them for all that they are doing. Lucas County Sheriff's Office, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, the Toledo Police Department, Holland Police Department, Swanton's Police Department, Swanton Fire Department, Lucas County Coroner, Fulton County Coroner, Delta Fire Department, Toledo Fire Department, Springfield Township Fire Department, Metamora Fire Department, Monclova Fire Department, Lucas County EMS, Fulton County EMS, Springfield Township EMS, St. Vincent Mercy Life Flight, Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the Ohio Turnpike and Infrastructure Commission, and Bubba's Towing. Thank you again for just the tremendous assistance in a very tragic time, and we appreciate everything you're doing now and helping us with our investigation. So with that, we're going to take some questions. If you'll raise your hand, I will recognize you. Please provide your name and your affiliation.
Mike Siegel, the Toledo Blade. I have a question to the investigator in charge. Mr. Brad, was the first accident, first crash, in any way caused by last-minute lane switching because of the new main line toll plaza? That Toyota, I think you said, that slowed down. Was that in any way because the driver wasn't well oriented, was trying to figure out which lane to go to? The plaza went into operation earlier this past spring. So.
And sir, I'll answer the question. We still have a lot of information that we have to develop as part of this investigation. We still have witness interviews that we need to conduct. Our highway factors team is, and just to reiterate on the question was this a result of some confusion by the driver in the initial crash around the toll plaza? And we still have a lot of information to collect on that. We're looking at the damage to the vehicles, which will tell us some additional information. We have witness interviews that we have to conduct. We still have to meet with individuals that were in the vehicles or may have seen something, and then we're evaluating the vehicles themselves. So we still have work to do before we can even determine that. But thank you so much for your question. Yes.
Brian Duggar, WTUL, and this is going to be a very similar question. I apologize for that. But last week we did an investigation on toll booth 49, and it's a brand new toll plaza. Everybody is telling us we're very confused. I was over there and I didn't want to miss a toll, but I didn't want to swerve across 3 lanes. So two-part question. Was the Toyota hit in an area where it was attempting to exit. And again, I believe you just touched on this, but is there any reason to believe that that person was confused about whether they needed to exit?
The question is, was the individual trying to exit at the time, and is there any possibility the individual was confused? We don't speculate. We work with facts. We still have a lot to investigate here. I will tell you the NTSB has a lot of expertise related to investigations around toll facilities. And I will just reference one multi-vehicle collision around Hampshire, Illinois in 2003, where we did an in-depth investigation and focused on the design of the toll plaza and the toll booths. There, we issued a number of recommendations regarding the design of toll facilities and the need to create more guidance for states. So that is something we'll look at as part of this investigation as well. Yes?
Melissa Andrews, WTOL. There was an arrest already. It seems like just minutes after that third crash yesterday. We kind of thought that was a quick amount of time to arrest someone on vehicular homicide after this third crash. Can you tell us anything more about the investigation into that crash and why someone was charged so soon after it?
The question is, can we tell you more about the third crash in the westbound lanes after the initial crash occurred? We are still gathering information around that crash. There were a number of vehicles involved in the second and third crash, so we want to put a timeline of events for both of those crashes before we are able to release some information. We want to make sure it's absolutely factual, including the number of people who were involved. We hope to have more information on that in the coming days. Yes?
Another question. We've had truck drivers reach out to us, people with safety backgrounds, ex-CDL instructors, people who are in charge of safety at their current workplaces. Drivers reach out and say that there is not enough trooper coverage in those areas. One person said that he had called actually to complain within the last few months about a lack of troopers and was told that they had 2 troopers covering 3 shifts over the weekend. Are any of your teams going to be looking at the staffing of the Ohio State Highway Patrol at any given time?
If the question is, are we going to look at staffing for Ohio State Highway Patrol? Certainly we'll look at the response. We'll look at the capabilities of responders, including the Ohio State Highway Patrol. If we believe it is something we need additional information or that we find relevant to this investigation, we never hesitate to then look into that further and include that in our investigation. But again, it's first day on scene. We have a lot more information that we have to develop. So we'll be able to provide more information on that at some point. Yes?
What can you tell us about the weather conditions at that time, if you know? I mean, we heard that it was pretty foggy. Is there anything you've heard?
Yeah, the question is on weather conditions. That's a pretty standard part of our investigation, is we always look at weather conditions. That's something our highway factors team will look at. We've heard mixed information. We've heard there was fog. We heard there wasn't fog and that it was lifting. It's something that we're going to have to look at more closely, and we have meteorologists that work for the NTSB that can look into that more in depth. Yes?
Is it typical for you as the chair to come out to an area after a crash like this, or is there a special reason that you are here? We heard maybe it might have to do with some of the chemicals that could be involved in one of the crashes, especially after the East Palestine disaster.
The question is, why is the chair here? Why am I here? Each board member at the NTSB, there's 5 of us, is on rotation. And so I know what weeks I am on duty throughout the rest of the year for going to certain crashes. One thing we try to do is bring our new members into the investigative team so they can begin launching. Member Inman is one of our new members. This is his training launch. So we're here together. Thank you for the question. Yes. Did you have one? No. Okay. Yes.
Alexandra Manning for TBC. So you guys obviously investigate lots of crashes, but what was the leading factor in your decision to come and investigate this series of crashes?
So the question is, what was the leading factor in why we're here? A couple of ways I'll answer that. 40,000 people, over 40,000 people are dying on our nation's roads. We're in the midst of a public health crisis. In Ohio, over 1,200 people annually are dying on Ohio roads. With this one, when this occurred, we saw some safety issues that we really wanted to look at. Those include traffic incident management around the initial crash. We want to look at the exposure to any first responders, toll workers, or others in the area after the initial crash. We want to look at the role of collision avoidance technology. It's something the NTSB has recommended since 1995. Collision avoidance technology, that's safety technology in vehicles that could prevent crashes. We want to see if that could have prevented these 3 crashes. And we're looking at motor carrier issues as well.
2 more questions, please. Just one.
Yes.
Chief Investigator, can you kindly spell your last name?
The question is on Kenny's last name. His last name is spelled, so it's Kenny, and it's Bragg. Sure, and I also, and I'll come over here, I do want to recognize that Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur is here. This is her district. She's been very involved. I talked with her yesterday. She's here today, and very concerned for, thankful for the first responders, but also concerned about what happened here. And we also have the state representative, State Representative Gambari, who's here. Thank you very much for you both being here. And the state representative was in earlier when we had our briefing this morning, just to meet everyone, and really appreciate your presence. And then, of course, we have representatives from Senator Brown's office, and then I briefed Senator Vance's office also yesterday, who had some concerns as well. Yes?
You mentioned one of the reasons that you're here is kind of looking at potential carrier issues. Are you talking about condition of carriers, the materials that they are transporting, the driving of
The
who are transporting?
The question is what we're looking at with respect or concerned about with the motor carriers. So our motor carrier issues are something we look at often. In this case, we're going to want to look at everything from the motor carriers' operations, what their training's like, their driver qualifications. We're going to want to look at any sort of medicine use among drivers. Their hours of operation, was the fatigue involved? This is all standard as part of our investigation, and that's something we're going to want to look at as part of this crash. And our motor carrier team, as I said, will at some point head out to Summit, Illinois to meet with that motor carrier operator. All right, well, with that, thank you very much for joining us. And for further updates, please monitor our social media or ntsb.gov. And thank you for attending.